Hey everybody, this is a very sick Adam Tracy. I wanted to do a follow-up on an earlier video I did regarding local bitcoins. And it seems to be a bigger issue in terms of what are the legalities of being a high-volume buyer and seller on sites like local bitcoins, right? Do you need a money exchanger or money transmitter license? And there's two cases that I found that I think that bear some importance. One is the Wagner case, and the other is the Lord case. And in both cases, they were criminal indictments related to parties buying and selling of bitcoins on local bitcoins, and high volume, very, very high volume. And the problem is there's no set limit that I could point to that would say, if you're over this limit, get a license. If you're under this limit, you don't need a license. But there's two commonalities between both of those scenarios that I think bear explaining and are probably worth the time to consider if you think you really need to get one of these licenses. One, in both instances, these individuals were buying and selling Bitcoin, right? They weren't simply liquidating a Bitcoin position for their own investment. They were speculating on Bitcoin, and so their Bitcoin involved both purchasing through local Bitcoins and selling through local Bitcoins, and other sources for that matter. So definitely something to consider, because really they were almost acting as a money exchanger, because on one end they were accepting currency for Bitcoin, and then on another end they were selling the same Bitcoin and accepting other currency. Second, they were involved in large-scale cash transactions, especially the Lord case. The Lord case involved someone who was using a credit card processor under the guise of a chiropractor's office, when it certainly wasn't a chiropractor's office, but they were handling large amounts of cash. And when you handle large amounts of cash, that's obviously going to catch attention. Also, if you receive cash in excess of $10,000, you have an IRS reporting requirement on Form 8820, if my memory serves me. So it's very important to note that if you're going to do these one-on-one transactions, especially if you're going to accept cash, whether it's in person or through like a bank deposit or something like that, you start to look like a money service business. You bear the indicia of a money exchanger, and that under state law would require a license, and under federal law, under FinCEN, you'd have to register as a money service business. So, while there is no definite limit in terms of how much money you can transact, or total dollar amount of Bitcoin that you can transact on local Bitcoins and evade having to register as a money service business, it does bear note that, one, if you are going to be involved in speculation where you're buying and selling, and you're buying and selling solely through private means, mostly through like places like local Bitcoins, and you're involved in cash and cash transactions, it's definitely something to consider. I would expect that the language of the law is going to get much tighter with respect to these deals, and the ability to operate without a license, a money transmitter license at the state level, and then the ability to the mandatory registration as a money service business with FinCEN at the federal level. So something to consider. I wanted to follow up on a previous video because I didn't think it went all the way, but hopefully that adds some clarifications, and many of you had reached out to me about that video, so I appreciate the feedback, as I always do. So feel free to check me out, tracyfirm.com, TracyFirm.com. Thanks.